Hello and welcome to LA Lions Workshop, presented to you by Littlehampton District Lions Club. Today we're going to be making a coaster set with a holder, just like this one. As you can see, it's quite nice, quite tidy, and also we're using two types of wood. We're using oak and poplar, mainly because that's what I had here. You can use whatever wood you like. But obviously getting a nice contrast would be advisable, or you can just use one piece of wood. It doesn't really matter, but this is just a little bit of difference, a little bit of feature. Okay, so we're going to first off go and glue some wood up. Okay, as you can see, I've already glued up some timber, mainly because you need to leave it for about 24 hours to dry, just so you can get a nice good tight fit on it. So once we've taken these clamps off, what we're going to do is just cut this end off, because obviously my oak was a little bit longer than my poplar. We're going to trim that end off and then we're going to sand it all up. Okay? Now, as you can see, we're at the chop saw now, so we're just going to trim both ends up so they're nice and square. There you go, all done. So now we're going to do the hard bit, which is sanding. Okay, as you can see, what I've done is I've just taken some thinner pieces of timber and just put them around the outside so that can't move. Now, I haven't got a thicknesser. I'd love a thicknesser, but they are quite expensive. If you have got one, then obviously you can pass this through your thicknesser just to get both sides nice and level. But unfortunately I've got to do it the hard way, and that is with a orbital sander. So what we're going to do is I shall get on with this. You don't need to see me sanding this, and then once I've done it we'll get back to it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got that all nice and smooth now on both sides. Nothing like the feel of soft, nice soft wood. So what we did there, we sanded it down with a 80 grit paper, and then just quickly went over it with a 400 grit paper, just to make sure we got this nice and smooth. Even though we are going to sand it again later, but it's easier to do it in one big sheet than obviously loads of little bits. So now what I've got to do is I'm just going to trim off these two edges, because we're going to go for a 11 centimetres, should I say, square, and we should be able to get 4 out of this, which will be our set. So I'm just going to take it to the table saw and we'll take off these two edges. Okay, so here we are at the table saw, and we've just got that set up, so we just take the two edges off. Okay. There we go, all done. So now we go back, measure up, and we'll do some bit more cutting on the chop saw. Okay, so here we are again, back to the bench, and I actually made a bit of a mistake. It's 4 inches, so that is essentially 10.5 centimetres. So 10.5 centimetres, let's just double check that that's the right. That is 4 inches. So there's one. I'll take one off the other end. Okay, so we'll cut those two, and then we'll take another 2 out of that as well. Okay, so here we are at the chop saw, making our first cut. So I measure another 4 inches there, and another 4 inches there. You may be wondering why I'm making cuts on both ends. Well, it's essentially just me being lazy. Because obviously you've got the width of the saw blade, so you can't just measure 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, otherwise you'll end up with odd sized pieces. So just take them off one of each end, and you can do 2 measurements in one hit. Okay, so there we have it. There we have our four coasters. So all we're going to do now is, obviously, if you've watched any other of our videos, you do know that I love a beveled edge. So as a result, we've got a little bit more sanding to do. I know some of you will be thinking, oh no, not more beveled edges, but I do like a beveled edge. You don't have to, it's entirely up to you. I just think it gives it a better feel, especially for a coaster. You don't want sharp edges anywhere. So we're going to put, I'm also going to put a little bevel on the corners as well. So we've got a little bit of sanding to do, and for that we'll go over to my orbital sander again. Okay. So now we're just going to use again 80 grit, and we'll just get the edges and the bevels around there, and then we'll just put some a little bevel on there. Okay. And there you go. See, it's just taken the sharp edges off. We will give it another go with a 400 grit sandpaper, just to get all these little burrs off and little tiny burn marks. But I'll get on with the other 3, and then when we come back, we'll be doing the final sand on these. Okay. Okay. So we've done those, all nice beveled edges. So what we're going to do now is just give them a final blast with the 400 grit, which is there. So this won't take too long. that's all there is to it. Some of you may have noticed there are a few imperfections in there. I don't mind that. This is a handmade product, so if it was meant to be absolutely perfect, then you can buy one from a factory. So don't worry too much about it, but obviously if there are some major defects, then obviously discard. So that's essentially what we're going to do with the other three, and then when we come back, once I've finished doing those other three, then we'll get on with making the base. Just a little point for you all. We've been doing this for a little while now, and in the past 7 months, I think between me and the line president, who's been making strawberry planters and other planters and bird boxes and all sorts of stuff, we've sold up to nearly £2,500 worth of stuff. So you know, if you're in a Lions Club or any charitable organisation that you want to earn some extra money, especially with the pandemic and whatnot, this is probably the best way to go. People are actually crying out for handmade either garden products or stuff inside. It's mainly garden stuff at the moment because we're selling a lot of wine bottle bird feeders and bird boxes still, and planters, loads of planters. Just a little point of interest for you. So I'll finish off these other three, and then when we come back, we'll be making the base. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so that's all those four done, and they've come out lovely. And again, I can't stress how lovely this feels. I wish we had, and smell for that matter. I wish we had touch-o-vision, but we haven't. So we're going to make the base now. The base rather. We're going to make the base. So we're going to start off with a piece of oak. Again, you don't have to use oak, you can use whatever timber you like. We're not going to make this a stripy one, we're going to make this a solid base. I did try a stripy one, but it just didn't look quite right. And in most of the time the coasters are going to be on it anyway, so you won't see it. So first off, we've got this piece of oak. There's no particular measurement on this because we've got to cut it yet. So what we do, we get our coaster and we get our pencil, wherever my pencil has gone. There it is. Get my pencil and we just draw around this to give us a rough shape of where we want to be. Okay, so then we get our little tape measure, or ruler should I say, and then we're going to measure out 10mm. From each line. There we go. Come on. Okay. And then we join these lines up. Okay. I'm not 100% convinced about that one. So we'll just double check that line there. Yeah, see, it's way off. That's better. Okay. Just keep an eye on what's going on here. Right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the bandsaw and cut that square out. Okay? Right, so we're going to cut this out on the bandsaw. So it won't be 2 seconds. So that's given us our square. So now back to the bench. Okay, so we've got the drill press here, and we're using 6mm dowel. So obviously you've got a 6mm bit here. Now I've got this piece of tape wrapped around the drill bit, so I can see how far to drill down. I don't want to go through the bottom of it. So that's roughly about 7mm. I'm actually using, what am I using here? I'm using 15mm stock. So essentially we're going down about halfway. So we get these holes drilled now. Oop, plug it in. Okay, there you go. So we haven't gone through the back of it, and we've got 4 nice holes there ready for our dowels. So, sanding. Okay, as you can see, I've got my small pieces of wood out again, just to clamp it to the base. Nice and tight. Okay, so that can't go anywhere now. So what we're going to do now is just do a bit of sanding on this. Again, 80 grit and then 400 grit, just to get it nice and smooth. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll come back with the dowels. Right, so we're back at the this sander here, the one that I made, and we're just again going to take the edges off, put a bevel on, and a nice little round over on the corners. Okay. There we go, simple as that. Obviously if you haven't got one of these or something similar like a linisher, then just do it with a normal sander. So now we're going to go and clamp this to the bench and do some serious sanding on it. Okay. Right, as you can see, we've got the 80 grit done, so we're just going to give it a quick go with the 400. There we go, lovely, absolutely lovely. So we'll take this out. There you go. I've done the other side as well, and so all I've got to do now is just these edges. and that essentially is all the sanding done. So you don't need to see me doing this, so I'll quickly do this and then we'll get back and put these dowels in. Okay, so that's all sanded now, and we get our, now they're going to sit in there like that, which is going to be lovely. Right, so on the previous ones it was 7 centimeters for the dowel, but we're just going to double check that. Yeah, that'll be about 7 centimeters, so only want a little bit sticking out the top. So we get our dowel. Again, this is obviously 6mm dowel, and we just measure 7 centimeters. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just get a little saw. Just cut that off. Okay, so now we go back over to the bandsaw and we'll cut them out. Okay, so there we go. We've got 4 little dowels cut up here. Let's get rid of them. And what I've done is just on the top, just fold it off a little bit, so it's a little bit rounded. So put these in. It's very, very simple. Little dab of glue in the hole. Simple as that. Obviously making sure that you've got them the right way up. Okay. Okay, just remember to wipe the glue off. And there you have it. It's quite a simple thing to do, but there you go. You have a lovely set of coasters. We'll probably be selling these for a £5. Depending on demand, we might go as far as a £10. I don't know, because basically it's taken me an hour to do them. Obviously you have to wait 24 hours for the glue up. And then obviously you've then got to give them a quick coat of varnish, which just really makes them pop. It makes the wood really pop. You can stain them if you wish, but then you're losing really the grain of the wood. So quick coat of varnish, 1 or 2 coats will be sufficient for that, and you're ready to go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I've had a lot of fun doing it for you. And hopefully there'll be another video soon. So thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.